Okay, continuing with that after the rude phone call. It was time to take a break. I almost had 19 minutes, supposedly. And I have no idea how long these videos will go. But anyway, so back in 2007, when I wrote A Glimmer of an Instant, uh, I had no idea where it came from. That's why I talk about muses and Mandy and all this kind of stuff, because for me, the creative process is insane. It's like they talk about that. The poets always talk about them being conduits from the muse, and you just sitting there, okay, I'll do this, and that's kind of how I feel. I enjoy. There's something internal. I hear chords. It's chord driven usually because I like jazz, but I can't say where a melody comes from, and certainly the words. I had a bunch of uh, snippets, I call them, of songs several years ago, and Emily's would tell you got to put a name on this. So I'd say whatever came to mind, or the first few notes sounded like a rhythm, like, well, not Glimmer of an Instant, but I just wrote one. Uh, it's a cool song that M. Jane, this beautiful singer I've got at the sub, sang that she never sang before. It's called Bum, ba, 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 ba. And when I look, it's best if we don't talk. So that's the name of the song now. So usually the title comes, and sometimes once I label it, then the words come. OC says or used to say, I don't have any narratives. I don't write country western. I don't write, rap. I don't got no stinking story. Most of mine, as you can imagine, if you know anything about me, they're I'm a big romantic. I'm sappy, as Danny says, but I'm also cerebral in the sense that I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm in a place where I think a lot of artists are, is metaphysical place where there are no words, where there are lots of impressions and feelings and sounds and so on, and they manage to get together and shove out a word or a brushstroke or something, and that's about how I feel. Uh, I can sense because of my experience. I think experience, of course, also chooses a note because you've heard that before, that chord, and so there's something about repetition, I guess, and previous songs you've written. Somewhere I've found myself writing a song and hear a little phrase from another song, but still, it's just insanely warm and rewarding and inscrutable. I have no clue where it's going from. But uh, these little asides, so I get the manuscript done now, five stave, as it sounds good, and I save it in Finale. And then I export it to an audio file. That's on the menu too. It goes to a WAV file, and then you convert that SoundCloud converter to an MP3. And this summer, for the first time at the last summit, I told OC, I said, I was going to try this. I I was on the stage at the keyboard, but we played my tunes, MP3s, through the soundboard. And so M. Jane and I, and OC sang two of my songs. I sang one of them, M. Jane five, I believe. And then we had the song I wrote for Hans memorial called Remember It, which was basically everybody on the stage. It was just a real cool jam. But anyway, so the experiment, the using the recordings of my finale through MP3 through the sound system, with me just kind of doing a little filling, it was way better than even imagined, because instead of me playing filler chord, and even with bass and drums or something if I had them, it was kind of puny behind M. Jane. And so now we had this experiment, and I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's going to go further yet. But right now my keyboard has to, excuse me, my laptop has to sit next to soundboard, and the guy that's running that just hits play, and then we're off to the races. And then the second thing I've done, and I mentioned this yesterday, I haven't done all my files. Oops, let me see if I can show my files. It's open over there. These are my file drawer. I got 2 file drawers of songs, and I don't even know how many there are at this point. But so what I do is I make a manuscript, 5 or 6, 7, 8 pages, whatever it is, of the tune. And then I make a lead sheet. And as you people know from lead sheets, usually when I was playing dance bands and stuff, they're usually single page. But for a variety of reasons, mine have turned into 2 pages. And for the summit, so I take a folder like this and I open it up and I rubber cement page 1, page 2 of the lead sheet. And in this then goes the full manuscript, 7 or 8 pages, as well as a lyrics sheet. And I label it, put it in the file cabinet, and that's the name of that tune. And here was the other thing too. There's a Finale also gives a program called Notepad for free. And you pay, I don't know, $300, $400, $500, $600 for this program, and I can put it on 2 computers, and I've got it on the laptop. But I can't give a copy to OC. But what you can do, Finale allows you to download Notepad, and I can send a version of this tune, put it out there, send it to OC or to anybody that has Notepad, and they can open it. And there's a kind of a truncated version of the instrumentation there. It doesn't sound as good, but you could still hear it. And actually, with Notepad, you can actually manipulate the chording a little bit if you want. You can add stuff. So it's kind of interactive, and that's a way. And I've sent a few out to people, and since the primary viewer of this in the short term, maybe long term, about music would maybe be OC. He may be the only one that uses Notepad, but it's just like my writing my story, or anybody, or Danny. I've got Danny, again, like I said, he knows everything, and I want him to be recording, and we're working on it. He's had ulcers on his legs the last 3 years, and just been terrible health things, but it's so important. I just realized I'm a man on a mission. It's important to start keeping track of your life and telling people. So your relatives, even if, like Danny, even if you're childless, a lot of his memories could go in the University of Wyoming archives. And certainly for my son and his kids, O.C. Daniel and Hazel Marie, and their kids, what we can impart on paper might be entirely useless to the next couple generations. But in 2092 or something, somebody might be reading Danny's 5th volume and find out something about that he remembers about Carbon, Wyoming. And somebody doing a fellowship in Indiana is trying to write a paper about Wyoming, early coal towns or lumber towns. And he finds this queued up in the archives, and you get my point. It's never consider something that you put down as far as your life as trivial, because your whole life is absolutely important. And it may not even seem like it to you, but it is to somebody. And honestly, I would pay money to read nearly anybody's autobiography, certainly including my son. Anyway, that's part of the context of why I'm recording what I'm doing here. Now, another thing you can do with Finale is you can print the manuscript or the lead sheet or whatever. You can print, or you can send it, well, you can scan the lead sheet, but also you can save the lead sheet. Well, you can save the whole manuscript to PDF. And then I can send OC, say I want to show him, as I did with Remember It, the basic bass and the chords that he was going to play. So I can just show him, I can send him a PDF of a single file. And what else is there? I've been transporting my files, such as they are. I bought a briefcase this summer before the summit, so I could carry the 6, 7, 8 songs I was going to perform in there, keep them in track. So let's see, what else is there? Finale has updates, and their support system is excellent. It's not phone call really, it's you got to write a question in and you got to give your serial number, blah, 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 blah. But it seemed like I know, or they know me, quite a few of the customer service people, because I get into crazy things like, this won't let me do this thing, and they'll either show me, or they'll say, well, why don't you try this workaround? And I said, yeah, but I want to do it this way. And then I found out the other day, it's a user forum. I thought it was the staff, but you can suggest future improvements or changes. Like I suggested a couple of years ago, and who knows if it's ever possible. But I guess you know how Zoom, is that what it is? But what is it? The one that you can hold your phone up and it'll tell you what the song is. Can't even remember the name of it. Could look on my phone, but my phone's recording. I asked the people there, and it turns out it was just users. How cool. No, actually, I asked one of the support guys I said, do you suppose down the road it'd be possible for you guys to write code that for a given user, you could play a series of notes that you remembered, and the program, I don't know, analog, whatever, would find that series of notes and find the manuscript it's in and bring it up. I thought, how cool would that be? Because there's times when I'm humming something and I said, God, I can't remember that tune because I got quite a batch. And so I've suggested that. What else? Oh, another thing is OC Christian is sort of converted. I got us all thinking about Google Drive. And I found out I can't really put my music files all that I update every 3 months because I'm writing or changing or modifying. Or I write some tunes down at the A-frame and bring them back up here. I have to put them on. But anyway, I downloaded all those to Google Drive, and it was insane. It was very laborious. Then I realized since I'm changing the master file periodically, that's nuts. So I took them off Google Drive, and they just reside here now and on 2 externals. So I do have a copy of this stuff, so that should anything go wrong, it's all recorded. And let's see if there's anything else about the process. I used to have a keyboard here, but for you people who write music in the future, I actually put it over there. And so I found myself the other day writing a lead sheet, and I'll just put it up here. You can't probably see it, but I'll just pretend that you can. I'll bring up a lead sheet here so you can see what it looks like. Oh, yeah, I don't want to save that, no. So let's go over here, go back to lead sheets, and I'll just pick one. Let's do It's Best If We Don't Talk, since I was talking about it. And I think, no, this wasn't the one I was. But anyway, so say I'm doubting. Oh, and that's another thing. You can play these damn things on finale, and I don't know, I probably have to reboot because it's not going as I'm supposed to, but it's supposed to click, control click. Oh, it is going to work. So I can do that. And I'll show you what happens here actually. Oh, sorry. So it goes now. Well, enough of that. So anyway, so what I got this, so I found out I'm writing this lead sheet, and I can't. That says a C minor 7, and it sounded like a C7 to me. So I was having trouble. Oh, I got to run over to the keyboard. So now I could let's see, is that a C, a G7, or is that a G, I mean, excuse me, a G7 or G minor 7? So this, having this thing loose, was turned out to be pretty cool. So my my studio, is working good for anybody that down the road that cares to see what was happening. So I've got the keyboard going through the amp and the woofer and stuff there, and I've got my keyboard or my laptop speakers talking to me there. What else? I'm coming up on 18 minutes again. As I was saying philosophically, this passion has filled my heart with something, and it's spawned so many philosophical asides. When I was getting my master's, I wrote my thesis was on synesthesia, which doctors consider a disability. It's when you smell colors or you taste sounds, a little bizarre. But metaphorically, it seems to me that in our world, in our minds, everything's undifferentiated, particularly when you're a kid, when you're a fetus maybe. And maybe you do smell colors and all that stuff. So back to having no words, not being able to describe something. When I'm writing stuff, music, of course, is wordless, as is painting, massage, I don't know, making love. There's a lot of things you just have no words for, but you express them in different ways. There's an artist in Jackson Hole, Catherine Turner, that I got. I'm fairly assertive, so I cadged me a meeting here a few years ago, and she was glad to do it. But I kept learning. We were talking the same thing because I think she's kind of impressionistic, and I remembered less is more and keep it simple, stupid, and all this stuff. And so even my music is, I don't do full chords as Ossie was used to, and so on. I truncate things, and I use 2 notes instead of 4, and I just try to suggest things, and that's what this is all about. So I'm thinking that may be my introduction to the mechanics of actually writing music. There's always time to do it, but anyway, I think I got to go. It's blinking at me. So see you later.